Okay, and we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to VKH Live. I am your host, Jeff DeWitt. Do a little transition. How's everybody? How's everybody doing? Ship is still driving home. No worries. Yeah, so we're talking Razor tonight. So this is a band that I don't I'm kind of confused on in terms of how everybody online feels about them, because I thought they were gonna like really take off because it's because of who's in it, and we can get into that. Um, but I guess I don't know. I don't know. I just uh, I haven't seen, unfortunately, like a huge reaction to them, and I think they just need a PR boost more than anything, because they're definitely a solid band, and they and it's all like members from established previously well established, well known bands, and it may just be here in the uh, it may just be like an international exposure thing, but yeah, I don't know. I was expecting more of a reaction than I think I've seen out of people. So I don't know. Tell me in chat if you've noticed that too, or if you haven't noticed that. But yeah, so let's get into a little bit of fun trivia about this band. Let me pull my notes up real quick though. Um, Yeah, so this was a real shot in the arm for some of us. I think that's the right metaphor, like a boost, coming off of, I guess, the end of 2016 or the end of 2015 through beginning of 2016. Uh, because Razor's actually got members of a lot of bands that had recently disbanded that were very near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. The vocalist is actually Ryoga from Born. The one of the guitarists um, is let's see, is Surugi from previously from Sati, who's on hiatus. The other guitarist is Koryo from My Bacteria Heat Island, who disbanded, and I believe some of the other members came back as well in other bands. And their bassist Iza's from, I thought Serial Number was a well liked band, like small indie band. I could be wrong. Um, but then also the drummer Tetsuya was also in My Bacteria Heat Island. And so, I mean, for like this was like, oh gosh, like we weren't entirely sure what to. We weren't expecting this because they started so soon, and I think so soon after Born disbanding, if I remember correctly, and uh, we were talking about them quite early. Excuse me, I have the sleepies. It must be. It was all the Grimoire and Yuma Leap I've been listening to for tonight's streams, and then Razor's been waking me up. um, so yeah, like we were really kind of surprised to see this, and then we were pleasantly surprised at the sound that we got like from day one. It was quite a impressive, very loud, ambitious kind of take on, I guess, a formula that Bourne had previously dabbled with, and that Sadie had previously dabbled with, which was, but with like a metalcore spin, I guess, is the easiest way I could say it. They really take like the, okay, well, in their PV tracks, they'll really take the catchy anime chorus concept and kind of flip it on its head by adding like a ton of metalcore, and glam the whole thing up with the whole song up with a lot of like backing vocals that are like kind of auto-tuned, and I guess like synth sounds and other electronic sounds that are more like almost more Kira technically than like wub wub kind of Western kind of electronic stuff, and then they'll intersperse that with other stuff like really buzzy synths and something like DNA, but like the key factor in it is that it's like it is really strong metalcore like throughout the the whole thing, and it works pretty well. It just like hits you. It knocks your socks off is basically the end result. I think it's a really solid formula, and I do think the band has a lot of potential. They've also done some pretty interesting, experimentation. I still think personally my favorite, some of my favorite non PV music from them, and like their non PV music kind of differentiates from that formula a little bit more traditionally, although we'll get into like what they've been up to in 2018. But I think my favorite non PV stuff is still from their first mini album, which is Red Invisible. There was some pretty badass stuff in there, and then here and there's been some other ones as well that I thought there's some cool experimentation, like I thought the B-sides on Brilliant were pretty cool as well, like Honey, and then like another on Red Invisible is kind of what I'm referring to, and even like the ones that sounded more similar to that formula I just described, I don't know, they sounded very fresh, on that. And then also the core had some, I think the core had a had that ballad that kind of was like, oh, they can do ballads. So I would say overall I think they need to kind of same advice I've had to give out a lot last few for a lot of these bands, which is if the sooner they can start differentiating the music, like especially that they put out, the better, I think, like in terms of pushing themselves, that for like their PV tracks they really do a more like a different sound, mix up the sound quite a bit. God, man, I am yawning. This is not good. But I'll have to pound my monster at some point. But yeah, the suggestion would just be, or my main thing I'd like to see out of Razer is like, can we differentiating the music even more, I think, and just pushing themselves, because I think they've put out enough of these same type of music uh, to kind of just like go all in on the heaviness once in a while on the PV track, or add in more genres one way or another. If you're going to keep doing the same track, and they kind of did that recently, so we can go ahead and get into that as well. I did listen to I believe everything that came out in 2018. So they had Brilliant, the single Brilliant, Akaku Chira Baruhana, and Not Invisible, Knot Invisible. And let's see, Brilliant came out in May. Akaku Chira Baruhana came out in July. And Not Invisible came out in November. And yeah, so I think out of all of those, I guess we can start with. Let me pull up some of these for just a double reference. Hopefully, I don't. It's not. Okay, cool. Yeah, I would say out of all these, I think I quite enjoyed Brilliant the most out of the two singles. Something about the pacing in it. And then Honey was like a really great B-side, I thought. I thought that was really smart. And then, or it was really clever, kind of catchy. It was like a hardcore catchy, I don't know what you call it, kind of song. Basically like that it was like a metalcore kind of take on that, like jazzy, like almost like pop punk kind of song that you hear from some of these VK bands sometimes, where it's very short, abrupt chords, I guess. Almost like I wouldn't call it ska pickup, but like there's like a nice guitar pickup. And then I think for Akaku Chirabaru Hana, sorry, I'm going back through and double checking all these tracks so that I make sure I don't say the wrong ones. Yeah, okay, then I have those right then. Okay, yeah, so all the songs on Akagu Chirabaru Hana, I don't really have a problem with necessarily. It just wasn't something that landed as much for me, I guess. I think if you get into like the really passionate mood and vibe of the band, you might actually like that more than something like Brilliant. For me, it was like I prefer to see for me, I just felt like for Brilliant it was quite a bit more. I was looking for something more diverse out of them, and I think I got that the most out of Brilliant, I think. And then I did listen to Not Invisible, and I thought it was decent, but I really wasn't getting, unfortunately, as much. Maybe I'm asking for too much, I don't know, but I really wasn't getting as much experimentation out of it as I was like hoping for. I thought the intro track was badass. I thought Kienai Naru Kimie was pretty badass, which I know is the PV track, and I also has a really really cool PV as well. I was and but the other tracks, it was more of the same. And the thing is, like, it's good, more of the same. So like the style's pretty solid. Um, like the sound that they've got is really solid. It's just uh, it's more of the same thing. I don't know. I don't want to sound like a dick, because I actually genuinely think their sound is really good and has a lot of potential. It's just, I think, uh, I think it's time after this that it would be good to see exactly how diverse they can get, how varied they can get, because there's only so many different ways you can do the formula, the like a formula just in general. But I would say, like, Brilliant, I thought was really nice packaging for a single. They do actually quite a decent job with the singles. DNA definitely caught my attention a while back as like a really solid single. I would say, and I know they have this habit of doing singles and mini albums. Maybe Not Invisible could have just been another single or something like that. But uh, otherwise, overall, I would say they're pretty solid releases, and the band's like catalog overall is like a lot of fun to listen to. Just if you're looking for something really high energy, and then also fairly quintessentially like Neo Visual K. Like if you're looking for like a fusion of those two things, this would definitely be up your alley. And then there's some fresh, some kind of fresh, like I think the thing I like the most is almost like the pop style attitude that the vocalist comes at this with his cleans, and then how they link that with certain things in the in the backing tracks. And this is all done over like really nicely distorted metalcore. So it's an interesting contrast, and they're definitely exploring how many different ways they can do it. Obviously, it's just me personally. I think they've hit every way at this point, I think. But it's definitely been an interesting ride, interesting concept. Definitely rooting for them, since because Born is God for Jeff, and Sadie was best friends for Jeff. So when those bands went away, I was very sad. And so I always look forward to their releases, because their aesthetic is really cool. That's why as you can tell, it kind of matches their sound. It's like hyper pop glam core kind of thing. And then the PVs are like insane as well. So I definitely wish them the best. So I definitely encourage you to check them out, because they are on Apple Music, and if you've got that, you don't got anything to lose. So maybe if you didn't know about this band, and or you'd forgotten about this band, they are still making music, and they're out there. So go check them out, maybe. And that's about all I had for Razor for now. But hopefully we'll get something new from them soon, if they haven't announced something already. Let me pull up our notes. We'll see if we'll see if they announce something, but they're definitely like one of the bands we'll be following, moving into moving forward, because it's just it's it's a lot of it's a lot of band members from a lot of past bands that I know a lot of people miss. So I know people like to hear how they're doing. So let's check the chat. Razor's a top 3 band for me at the moment. I fucking love them so much. Says Chip. What's up, Chip? Hey, Genevieve. Genevieve says, at first I wasn't sure about their music, but now I definitely like it. Yeah, Chip, I see. Okay, so Chip just also said Razor might not have blown up yet because their sound is a bit of a hot mess, but it's the best hot mess ever. I think Razor badly needs to drop a full-length album to maybe get some Western exposure, or even in Japan. But at least for the West, I feel like constant singles and mini albums are less appealing than full lengths. Yeah, so the hot mess thing is kind of funny because that actually predates Razor. That's always been Bourne's thing. So it's really hilarious to see the ex-Bourne guys kind of continue that in their own way. Bourne and then bands that started a little bit after them, like Data Roma, were always like this, pushing that. But Bourne really big time had this hot mess aesthetic and sound, and everybody loved them for it. Or everyone at VKH, at least, we loved them for it. They were our hot mess band. Like we, I know what you're talking about, but so maybe if they get a little bit of a level up in some of like the way they arrange their music or even like mix their music, that might help a little bit. But I don't want them to like lose their edge in terms of like the metalcore, the really over distorted metalcore guitars are like a nice touch. I feel like in their case. So I guess we'll just let them figure it out. As for the full length album, I would say I just don't know if we could count on expecting it anytime soon. I don't know. The indie bands these days, the kids today, they're just they're doing so many of the mini albums and the singles and stuff like that. So it seems to be working pretty well for them. But yeah, in the US, we don't really. A lot of people don't understand the concept of a single outside of an album or of a mini album or even an EP, which is what we usually know them as. So. It would take some getting. It would probably take a full album to get people to pay attention. Not Invisible was in desperate need of an extra track that was heavy, but I really liked it otherwise. Yeah, that's it. That's a good call. But that would be I would agree with that. I think one more, and I think it was one track short, right, compared to what they normally make. Like they have 1, 2, 3, or 5. Red Invisible had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The Core had 7, right? I got that right? Not missing one. Nope. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so it's kind of short too. Yeah, it is what it is. I think the PV track was definitely experimental though. So that was kind of cool to see. So, yeah. 4 tracks in an intro, technically. Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. This is a nice little jumping into. I think jumping into stream. All the streams are going to be like this tonight. But these are all bands that we plan on covering in the future. We continuing to cover in the future, and we'll make sure. To keep you all updated on everything. So hit the like button if you enjoyed it. That helps us out. And stay tuned for more streams. Our holiday stream schedule is in the link is in the description. It carries on through the weekend. So I will see you guys shortly, because we got another one of these at 8:30, I believe. So. Yep. I will talk to you then. Peace. Oops, don't mind that misclick. I switched to the memes when I meant to go to the waiting screen. I think you know where my heart is. Bye guys.